Hi everyone. I see 10 people live right now. So thank you everyone from joining. Please say hi, like this post so I know, cuz I can't see who you are. Just say hi where you're from. So today's I have a special guest today. He's actually we met through Visa. I used to work at Visa, Visa, Mastercard. And then yeah, so we met through there. He's still working there and then I quit and then we kept in touch through LinkedIn. Yeah, so Anush, why don't you oh hi Rahul. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Christine. First of
Mhm.
all, big hello to everybody who's already logged in, and like Christine said, do say hi on the chat so that we know who's who. But first of all, thank you to Christine for the opportunity and the invitation to join your LinkedIn. Really appreciate that. I think having known Christine for so long, I have to first of all tell everybody that she's a great influencer. I have followed her since she left Visa, maybe even before that on LinkedIn, and her growth has been great. So if anybody of you are not following her closely, you probably need to follow her.
Yeah,
The other
go
the
ahead.
other thing is I think Christine, in advance, congratulations and best wishes for you for 50,000 followers very soon. I
Mm.
see that you're very very close to that, so it's coming soon. But so for me, I have been with Visa for long. I've worked in several multinational companies over the years. I'm a hardcore accountant, I mean, by profession and my early part of my career. But over the years, I've learned a lot. I have actually added my MBA to my portfolio and my profile, and that actually led me to this interest specifically in negotiations. So after my MBA courses on negotiation, it stuck at the back of my head, and it generated that interest for me to dive deeper and deeper into the topic, and so deep that I started hosting classes and I started researching, observing people, every move of people I used to observe, and I say, oh yeah, that's a negotiation story, or that's a negotiation tactic, or things like that. So it grew on me as I went along this journey, and then it is still an ongoing journey for me. But earlier part of this year, I published this book on negotiation.
I got it
Uh,
too.
yeah,
He did a special delivery last night. He drove to my house just to drop this. So cool. This is on Amazon, right? And where
yeah,
can they get it?
yeah. It's on
Yes.
Amazon. It's in the US. You can find it on Target, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, everywhere. And in several part of the countries, in your own Amazon, Amazon.in, you can find it, Amazon.co.uk, everywhere. And there are some other sites where you can find it. And its Kindle version is available. I know in many countries right now the book is not available due to the lockdown. It's not being delivered, but the Kindle version is available.
Mm.
But yeah, so back to that discussion. I think I'm still working on negotiation. I'm by no means am I an expert. I am also learning in my journey and looking at perspectives. So it's great that I got into this topic, and I think this is a great skill for everybody to acquire. So yeah, I mean that's the journey so far for me.
Great, great. Thank you so much for the introduction. And I'm going through the comments right now. I see one of my friends, Toy Pam, is there. She's from Pacifica. Hi, Toy. So good to see you here. Okay, so Rahul says hi. Tobogo says hi. Polivas said to stay indoors and hide there. Zahir says hello from California. Hi, Zahir. And then okay, Patrick says hi from Canada, Asga. So, hey, anyone, if you have any questions about negotiation, just please say so, or whatever comment you have about negotiations. We have Anush here, so please, say whatever you want, okay, or ask whatever you want. So, Patrick said, Anush, is your negotiation book tactically based on or strategy based?
So that's a great question. I mean, in my opinion, negotiation is an essential life skill. So we use negotiation every day, basically, probably even multiple times a day. And and would you ever have a life skill that you don't learn? I mean,
Mhm.
every life skill that you have learned from a very young age has made an impact because you actually learned it. Somebody taught you the life skill, and you develop more on it. So my negotiation book is general. So I would have loved to include things that are more diplomat negotiations and country negotiations and nations and experts and all that. But there are many books like that out there, and you can read all those books. My negotiation book basically is the it's a diary of example that I've got from day to day life. So
Mhm.
professionals and people like you and me, I have interviewed them, I've observed them, and I've put all that together. Of course, there are some concepts and then techniques and tips, but the example that you would read, there are some for corporates like Amazon, Google, but then there are day to day examples, and I think those resonate more with people like us than looking at diplomatic negotiations and all that.
Got
I
it.
hope
Okay,
that
so
answers the question.
yeah, I hope that answers your question. So let me go back to the some Patrick. Oh, Patrick asked that question. Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for that good question. So I'm looking at the comments right now. Bab says hi from Ohio. Hi. Alon says hi. Yeah, Alon is one of my client, and then I've been giving you a hard time about his profile picture. He said he just changed it 7 times now. So I'll check it out, Alon, and see how that goes. So okay. Michael said hi from Dubai. And then
I should note his name and go and check it out too, since you mentioned.
yeah, okay, you're gonna get a profile review from Anuj to Alan. Okay, Kiran said, I'm from India. Oh, Toy said my friend Toy said would like to hear the key concepts from the book. So go ahead while I'm still reading. Okay, and go ahead, and then there's more questions after that. You can answer
Yeah,
that
I
question.
was I was actually
Mhm.
going to come to that at some point, but great that you asked that question, and it helps me. And so I generally ask people, what is negotiation, right? I host negotiation workshops and have done like almost 28 sessions so far. And I generally ask people, what is negotiation? I think the answer comes back is having a win-win, and getting what you want. Things like that are all great, but based on what I understand is, people walk into negotiations intuitively. So since we don't learn it at a very early age, we walk into negotiations knowing what we know already, maybe by observing people, maybe by somebody telling us that this is what you should do, and we walk into negotiations intuitively. We go in, we interact with the other person, we try to get what we want, and in many cases we compromise and walk out. So that's what we generally do if we have not learned negotiation. In my book, what I try to do is to lay out a structure to negotiations. So back to your question on what is the structure, I have the science and the art of negotiation included in the book, and this is what I call the balance, because the science has to be balanced with the art of negotiation. So when I say the science, it's a three-step process. Basically, the first step is prepare. So you have to prepare properly. The second step is engage. So then after your preparation, you go and engage with the other person in the negotiation. And then the final stage is close. So you have to close out a negotiation, and you have to close it out properly. So that is the three-step process. And then this is a science of negotiation, but this has to be supported and complemented with the art of negotiation, which is the appropriate behaviors and some of the influencing techniques. So in my book, I have 5 chapters. Basically, the crux of the book is those 3 steps, or 3 phases in the negotiation as a science, and then the behaviors and techniques as the art.
Yeah, cool. So Anush, I think more and more comments are coming in, so I'm I'm trying to keep up. So Alon
Yeah.
said, what's the difference between negotiating 10,000 deals to 300,000 deals? And then one said, will this book help with sales?
Okay. So that's a great question. So the first few times that you negotiate, you probably are wondering, okay, did I do well? Did I get what I wanted? Did I succeed in the negotiation? But then, if you have learned negotiation and if you have applied your concepts and techniques properly, that's when you start actually reading into the minds of people. and once you have started doing that, basically you practice and practice and practice. The key is to practice, keep all these concepts and techniques in the back of your head, and these should basically come out every time you're interacting in a negotiation. These should come out intuitively. These concepts and techniques should come out automatically, and that's the difference that it makes, whether you're negotiating your 10,000 deal or the 300,000 deal, whatever it is. These things will come once you have applied all these concepts and techniques in your day-to-day life.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. So Aman Bansal said, "Is negotiation different according to purchasing power?" And then Patrick, the one that asked you earlier, says, "Hi Anush, I'm a business guy and have written Unlocking Yes, Sales Negotiation Lessons and Strategy, and it is a strategic approach." So you guys should probably connect after this. So okay, so maybe go back to the question: Is negotiation differ according to purchasing power? I guess so, right? I mean, the more power you have, the more negotiation power you have. Is that true?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
There is something called an authority, and that's it's if you read the book, it's an influencing technique, that is authority. When you have purchasing power, when you have any kind of authority, that authority could come from expertise, it could come from a law or a regulation, or it could come from title or position. In your case, the authority is more of a power because of the purchasing power. These are all different kinds of authority. When you have the authority, obviously you have a bigger say. Now,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that you lose at that point, or you already are at a lower level? That's not the case, because even
Mm-hmm.
authority can be countered by other influencing techniques, or it can be countered by things like your own development, or using of your own authority, or in many cases, the authority can be countered by creating solutions, creative solutions that can counter the authority. Now,
Yeah.
when I say what solutions, it could mean if you're negotiating with somebody who has an authority, you can also come up with some creative solutions that can, because everybody who has the purchasing power uh, is looking for something, and you can come up with those solutions and provide that, and that can negate the authority. It will not fully negate the authority always, because there will be a purchasing power, but it can help influence the other person.
So okay, so this is a Michael has a question. So this is actually, I'm also interested in this. So he said, This really brings me to a question: How does the negotiation with my recruiter and HR on my salary?" Okay, I want to hear about this too. So this is like about money, right? So how do we win? Like how do we negotiate when it comes to like you're being interviewed, and then the final stages they're talking about salary now or promotion. So how do you win at money when it comes to money negotiation?
So I think the everything around negotiation. I mean, most of the things when you're negotiating come back to money in some form or shape. I mean, many times you're
Yeah.
negotiating because there's a money concept or component of money involved in that. The job interview is the same. Now, if you have a job, if you have cleared a job interview to the extent and to the stage that you're now negotiating salary, first of all, be sure of one thing. Having been in the corporate life, I know for sure that once you have got to that stage where you are actually negotiating on the money and the offer, you're probably way ahead of most of the other candidates. You're probably
Mm-hmm.
narrowed down to at least one or two, maybe in many cases just one. So you're the chosen one, and that basically tells you that you do have some kind of a say or authority in terms of money.
Yeah.
So know that. Then the other thing is, you have to prepare, you have to know that based on your profile and the stage that you're in, what is the what is the package that you're looking for, what are the things that you're looking for. You have to know that, you have to prepare that well in advance. In a salary negotiation, you can't just intuitive, like I said earlier, it's not an intuitive negotiation. You have to do the science of the negotiation, which is prepare in advance, talk to people, know what you want out of the package. and and then know that there are a few things that you have in your tool set or toolkit. For example, you can always negotiate for a sign-on bonus. Don't leave out the fact that there is sign-on bonus. There is always
Oh, vacation benefits. Can you
benefits.
negotiate that?
Yes,
Okay.
tuition
Mhm.
reimbursement. That's a
Huh,
good
maybe
one.
should I have negotiated more when I was at Visa?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
tuition
everyone
tuition. Yeah,
we used to both work at Visa, by the way. Oh, no, Anush still
yeah.
worked there. I used to. I left.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
should have
yeah.
more
So at
vacation.
the end of the day, yeah, I
Go ahead.
think that's a great, that question comes up all the time, right, Christine? I mean, people ask,
Mm-hmm.
oh, did I do this, did I do that? I actually talked to a participant from my workshop, and she said, oh, after going through all this information that you have shared, now I feel that I left some value on the table because I should have negotiated for a sign-on bonus. And this is something that we generally don't. The one thing that I will mention here is always have the courage to ask. Like I said, if you're at
Yep.
that stage that you're now
Mm-hmm.
negotiating salary, you're
Yep. Yep.
probably way ahead of everybody
Yep.
else already. And
Mm-hmm.
that is this, you have to keep that in your back of your head, that you need the courage to ask. If you don't ask, you're never going to get a
Yep.
yes or a no answer,
Exactly. The
right?
worst that can happen, like if you ask, is a no. But then, like if
Yeah,
you never ask, then it was a no by default. Then you will never know you
exactly,
get a yes. So
exactly.
always
And
ask,
then
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you realize later, because I know from my own. So just give you a page from my story, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was a horrible negotiator. As per my own standards, based on my book right now, I was a horrible negotiator myself in my early days.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Because I never learned negotiation. Nobody ever taught me what negotiation is, what should you do in a negotiation. Like I said, I used to go intuitively and try to negotiate. I have left value on the table even as early as maybe early 20s in my career. I've probably left maybe five to $8,000 on the table because I never
Mm-hmm.
asked.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that, and these things do add up. Like Christine, money. Once you get money in your hands, you know how it multiplies and how strongly it can multiply over the rest of your life.
If
So
you know how to multiply it.
if you know how, if you go to Christine and ask for advice,
See, Anush is
she
a good negotiator. He's like saying,
yeah
go ahead.
she
Okay,
will
go
she
ahead.
will help you multiply the
Uh-huh.
5,000 into 50,000 soon. So
Yeah.
things like that. I mean, you have to. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
back to the question is salary negotiation. Prepare, know what you want, know what others are getting,
Mm-hmm.
know what is out there in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. So Anush, I that comes back like I have. Oh, someone from Facebook said code Denny. So we are live streaming to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you guys have any question from watching, please comment because I can see that. So code Denny said, "Wow, great. Hi, Christine. Okay. So I was gonna tell you. So what do you think about bartering? Like, how do you negotiate a good barter? Because then sometimes like I mean, people have come to me offering bartering, and then like I have been I kind of was kind of going back and forth between like, do you just pay as is, because let's say because your rate might be different, so you can just pay the person and pay back, or do you barter hour by hour, so you don't go like, one person might be charging $50 an hour, one maybe $100 an hour, so does that mean you give me 2 hours of your time and I return 1 hour? And then I don't know, some people might feel unfair, or you just like, if you're gonna barter, you just go hour by hour, you don't even pay attention to the dollar amount. So what is your opinion on bartering?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
bartering, in my opinion, is a one-time transaction. There are two different types of transactions in negotiation. One is a one-time kind of transaction, which if you are bartering with somebody and you're saying, okay, 1 hour to 1 hour, whatever that is. I mean, it's on case-to-case basis. If you're providing something that is a value
Mm-hmm.
of $1,000, but you're getting only for $100, obviously you're not going to do that, right? So you have to apply the economics over there.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, in a bartering transaction, if you just leave it at the one transaction and one barter transaction and then don't do anything with it, that's probably, in my opinion, a bad result that you got already.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, when it comes to bartering, that means there is a partnership, there is a mutual benefit that you can both get out of the transaction. And my first advice would be to start building that mutual partnership and that relationship, because that relationship could lead you to a lot more transactions and maybe collaborations and partnerships in the future than that one transaction. So while it is great to have the bartering transaction, and if you ask me, if you were just doing one bartering transaction, then you would probably try to match the economics of the transaction, and try to see if you're both getting the value that you are expecting. But I would probably go a little bit further, try to develop the relationship to the extent that you can actually both mutually benefit from that relationships over a long period.
Got it. Got it. No,
I
that
hope that
makes
helps.
sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, so I think end of the day is like two people have to feel that you have to really in the beginning, like upfront, set the expectation, because then I have been disappointed in the first bartering, because then I wasn't like, yeah, we'll just trust each other. But I think end of the day you have to be very very clear your expectation. What do you expect? Like an hour for an
Right.
hour? Okay, like if our rates are different, then do you feel fair that you give me 2 hours of your time while I give you 1 hour of your time? Let's say you're $50 an hour and I'm
Right.
$100. So you have
Hmm.
to be very clear, very honest, very transparent. Okay, so don't go with the flow. I think you're just gonna end up disappointing each other. So that's my opinion on that. So I'm gonna go back
Right.
to the comment. Alon asks, how do you negotiate with really good negotiators? Okay, and then
Go.
I'm gonna read another question. Okay, so I am
Yeah.
a political fundraiser for GSI from Zahir. How can this book help me with my job? Okay, go ahead.
So going back to the first question, if you're negotiating with good negotiators, it is up to you to know the, like I said earlier, it's all about the proper science of negotiation and the art of negotiation. So if you have um, if you have all the science and the art of negotiation in your head already, there is nobody who can stop you from negotiating properly, whether the other person is a good negotiator or not. If you have prepared properly, if you are engaging
Mhm,
properly, if you have done everything that you need, if you are following the proper behaviors and the techniques, you will obviously first of all, you will uh, help yourself in the negotiation, but you will also impress the other person, because they will know that you are a good negotiator, and you have not just walked into a negotiation intuitively. So the worst thing is if a good negotiator can feel and already sense that you are a novice, or you are just intuitively negotiating. That's probably the worst thing for you.
got
So
it.
so reading the book will help you in that sense. And then the second question is, in terms of negotiating, how will this book help? There are several things, like I mentioned just now. The first of all, the science and the art is clearly mentioned, and the science and the art will help you. There is also something called CAV framework during the preparation stage. So in my opinion, the preparation stage is probably the most key.
Mhm,
Obviously, the interaction, the engage phase where you actually interact with the other person is key, but having proper preparation is extremely important. And there is a framework called CAV framework in the book. CAV stands for competency, ability, and value. So when you are negotiating with a person, what is your competency? Basically, that tells you what are you offering, or what is your idea. What is your ability? So what is special in that competency?
mhm,
And then value is what additional value can you provide to the other person. So basically, the what, the ability is the how, and then what extra in terms of value can you give. So if you follow this very clearly, and there are a few examples, so and I'm happy to guide you through this, if you have an example that you want to share with me, or if you want to talk more about a case, and you want to know what the CAV framework is, I'm happy to guide you through this. We'll talk about the context later.
Yeah,
But that is
message
actually,
Anuj if you
yeah,
guys want. I mean, feel free. Okay, connect with him. I'm gonna tag Anuj. Okay, after this, if you ever want to
yes,
message him or anything, he's on LinkedIn also. So
right.
yeah. Okay. Do you have anything to end? Cause I'm seeing more and more comments. I'm trying to make sure I get to all of them. So thank you so much for people who's commenting. I really appreciate that. The Zipporah Waldman said, "Christine, love your smile and energy." Oh, thank you, Zipporah. Okay. She also asked opportunity cost, something of that sort. What do you, I'm not sure. Okay, so I guess if you can talk more about opportunity cost too. And then Henry said, Christine, another great presentation. Thank you for your energy and direction. You're very welcome, Henry. If you have any tips or whatever you want me to have as a guest, or what topics you want me to talk about on my live stream, so please feel free to let me know or comment or something, because this live stream is all about you. Okay, it's not about me. So it's about like what you want, what topics, and hopefully this negotiation topic is gonna help you as well. So it's not just gonna fall everything around money as well, but something that will help you. Because negotiation again falls with money, right? Because like every day we negotiate regardless if we want
Yeah,
to or not. Like with our partner too, right? We negotiate as well, right? How can I win at this? How can I tailor this? Because I read your I think in your introduction or whatever part one, you're talking about between you and your wife going vacation. So I do that negotiation too with my partner. With your friends, I think you negotiate that too. You're like, oh, should we travel to this whatever Tahoe or to this? So
right,
you're always negotiating. But if you actually consciously know how to negotiate, you can make it so it will benefit you or benefit both of you, right? So
exactly.
okay. Okay, let me read. Okay, Alan said, what is difference between competency and ability again? Okay, yeah, let me just read through like some of the comments. So Gary, the best way to work with other people in negotiating with other people is to understand the meaning of social stratification. I'm not sure what that is, but okay. Kate, hi Christine. Imran said, great Christine, Anush, and then Zahir said, does this book help with sales? I think Anush already mentioned that it will help with sales too. And then Michael said, do you have the book available in Dubai? Yeah, I think it's international, right?
It is. It is. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
it is
So,
available.
yep, yep. It's available online. So he mentioned is you can just go on Amazon, like Barnes and Nobles, and I think you can order from Amazon to ship to Dubai, right? And or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
Amazon. I think
Yeah.
in Dubai you can order via Amazon. Obviously,
Yeah.
BNN, Target, Walmart, those are more
Yep.
US based, but Amazon
Mm-hmm.
widely across the world you can order the book.
Yep, yep. Okay. So let me go back. Okay, so I guess like you can talk about like opportunity cost and the difference between competency and ability.
Yeah, maybe if you can explain to me a little bit more, Zipper, about the opportunity cost. What are you actually? You can put that on the chat. What are you actually looking for, or what are you trying to ask? That will be great. But in the meantime, I can answer the
Mm-hmm.
competency and ability
Mm-hmm.
question. Is uh, is basically, as you assume you have a product. If you are if you're selling or preparing to sell a product, the competency is what is the product, and what is so great in that product, right? What is the basically explaining what is that product and how is it going to help. The second thing, the ability over there stands for how is the what is the unique what are the unique features, what is the unique functionality or delivery of that product that is different, that makes it different from many different other products out there. Similar products, there might be other products, but what is unique in your product, and what is the ability, the special ability in terms of your product. So think of it as this way. Um, if you ask Google what is the product, Google is, I mean, going back to the original Google, the core Google, it's like, I'm providing the best search and I have all the information that I can provide you. That's what Google is saying, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what is the ability of Google? It is the ability that it provides you all those results in like 0.25 seconds or whatever. And it has the largest database that is going to track in over the whole of web. So the product is complemented by the special ability for Google. Hope that helps.
Okay, so Zipporah was just explaining what opportunity cost is, and I do understand what opportunity cost is, but I just want to clarify, Zipporah. Do you mean like when you're trying to negotiate between one over the other, which one's better in terms of opportunity cost? Is that what you mean? I'm not
I think
sure.
maybe I will answer that
Okay.
from what I understand, and then Zipporah
Mhm.
can can tell us whether it answers her question or not, right?
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is, or what I'm understanding is, when I walk into a negotiation, what is the alternative I have? So if I'm walking into a
Yep.
negotiation, do I have alternatives? If the negotiation is not successful,
Mhm.
do I have any alternatives? Again, this goes back to preparation. When you are preparing for a negotiation, you prepare the alternatives. Also, you assess all the alternatives you have. So what the alternatives do for you is, if you walk into a negotiation and you already have some alternatives in your hands. For example, you walk into a job interview, you already have
Mhm.
a couple of other jobs, or you walk into a job interview, but you already know a couple of other things you can do with your time. If you don't get that job, maybe you can do freelancing, maybe you can do take a break and do study something. So those are the alternatives. If you have assessed your alternatives, if you have ranked your alternatives, and if you have found that you have a strong alternative if you don't get that job, you walk into that interview with a lot more courage and leverage than you would if you are desperate. Um, always prepare and find what your alternatives are in a negotiation.
Got it, got it. Yes, always again, Anush repeatedly say prepare, prepare, prepare. So even like I
Right.
think even it doesn't work too when you go to your wife or your partner. It's like, okay, how do I like make sure that I can win at this? Like prepare. I guess that will work too. So again, prepare, prepare. Okay. So Gary said the best way to work with other people in negotiating is to understand the meaning of social stratification. I'm not sure what he means. Do you understand what he's okay? I guess that's not really a question. That's more a statement. Never mind. Okay, moving
Mhm.
on. Okay, so okay, yeah, Zippor said yes, thank you. Okay, Zippor, I'm glad we answered your question. So Michael said, Christine, I would like to have some advice in the line of my career after the live, please. I mean, you're more than welcome to message me, Michael, but I'm not a career coach. I'm a financial coach. So I mean, depending on what your question is, I mean, feel free to message me. I always love people messaging me. I don't hire any VA. I don't to actually respond to my comments, to do the messaging. I know people who have a lot of followings already hire VA to respond to their comments and do their messaging, but I don't want that. I want to have a personal connection with my audience. And then like when I always go through my messages, unless it's like sales pitches messages, then yeah, sorry guys, I put you on my spam folder. Okay, if you're gonna send me
Mhm.
sales pitches. So if you're gonna message me, make sure it's a personal message. You just wanna, you wanna say hi or something, not like, hi, how are you, where are you from, what do you do, like all of that is already on my profile. Okay, but if you just want to have a conversation, I'm always happy when people message me. So I'm very approachable. You can just message me or connect with me, and then I love reading your comments. So if you see my post, please comment so I can always see you. Because if you just react, I will never know you're there. So please comment, even though just say, even though you just say you appreciate my post, I always appreciate every comment, and I make
Mhm.
sure to respond to all your comment. And then I know who comments because I pay attention to that. So okay.
Yeah,
So
I can vouch for that.
thank you. So Michael said competent blah, I can't read. Okay, competency incorporate a set of skills with abilities and knowledge. Okay, so since there's no more additional question here, so let me ask my question.
Hmm.
Okay, so I know. Okay, why don't we talk more, Anush, about so negotiation at the end of the day, you're saying is about money, right? So it's like
Right.
I want to hear more about like what is your story around money? Like how did you? I mean, like what is your I guess at the end of the day, what is your intention with negotiating too? It's like and then how did you get so in? I know you're talking about in MBA, you got so interested in that your everyday stuff. So it's like so I'm just curious, like tell us more about your story and then your history around money too, and then like because like there's a connection with a negotiation with money. So yeah, share whatever you want to share about your personal story.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Let me
Mm-hmm.
first answer maybe something that negotiation can help in terms of money, or how negotiation associates closely with money. So um, every small negotiation, you might think it's a small negotiation, but every small bit adds up. So when you're negotiating, there are so many opportunities and so many avenues out there where you have to probably negotiate in terms of money in day-to-day life. For example, I mentioned earlier of one transaction where I probably could have negotiated better and made a little bit extra, so I left value on the table in that one transaction. But then I can tell you that over the last few months, I have negotiated on my cable TV contract. I have negotiated for
Oh,
my
okay, go ahead.
brokerage contract.
Okay, okay.
So
I have
I
a
had
question
a
after you're done.
yeah, sure. So we'll come to that. So I have a brokerage contract where I had $4.99. I know this is pre right now. The era is free, no brokerage fees. But there used to be a time when there was 4.99 brokerage fee, and I
Ibrahim says Ibrahim is online. Hi, Ibrahim. I'm gonna
hi
say
Ibrahim.
he has a very funny question, but go ahead. Sorry,
So
I just laugh at that.
so I negotiated with my brokerage. I said 4.99. I have been negotiating with you for, oh, sorry, negotiate I've been banking with you for so long. You can see my profile. These many I do these many transactions, so I should get a better better rate, negotiated rate. And I did get a better negotiated rate, so they brought me down
Mm-hmm.
from 4.99 to 2.99. And then recently, or a few months ago, I also negotiated for the $0 fee, because I knew there were other
Mm-hmm.
brokerages out there that were offering
Mm-hmm.
zero, and if I had
Mm-hmm.
not called, I would have not got it. So I called in, I negotiated again, I showed them that I do transact. So I got that rate, and they were happy
Right.
to give me. But then the thing is, you have to ask.
Yes.
The
Ask.
Yeah. And then the other
Mm-hmm.
thing is, so on a day-to-day basis, I've negotiated so many times, and every
Mm-hmm.
bit adds up. So if you're making $50 here, $100 here, you can see how much that can add up to.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
in terms of my association with money, Christine, right from a very, very early age, like I was probably 18 or 19 when I started managing my grandfather's stock portfolio.
Wow.
And that
Nice.
was
Mm-hmm.
because he had just passed away, and there was this whole portfolio that needed attention.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad both were working, they could not spend time on it, so it was assigned and handed over to me. I
Mm-hmm.
had probably already shown some interest in terms of money, so I went and did a lot of work around those that's portfolio of stocks. And and the other big thing was, when I was about 17 or 18, my my parents had an assignment in a different country. So both of them were living in a different country, and it was just the two brothers living in our country in India. And I was assigned to manage the budget for the home. So whatever money my parents left for us to manage our expenses, it was assigned to me rather than my brother. And I was managing that whole budget for the month. So it taught me a lot of things very early in the age. I knew the value of money from that time,
Mm-hmm.
and I just built on that. I mean, everything I do now, I do focus on the money aspect, because at the end of the day, like I said, it all adds up over a long period of time.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so before I go back to the comment question, I see more questions coming in. Thank you, guys. I do want to ask you, it's like, so I'm not sure about other states, but here in the Bay Area, we have Comcast, right? And then Comcast is
Mhm.
such a, I don't know if it's for you too, but then there's not much competition with Comcast, so they always increase your price, and then sometimes you call them, and like they always offer this 1 year promotion, but you have to keep calling them to say, hey, can you give me 1 year promotion? So do you have any tips on how to negotiate with Comcast so you can get the best deal?
Yeah. So what I mentioned earlier, when I
Hmm.
negotiated, that was because uh, in my area here, AT&T does not have enough of the what I need in terms of the internet speed. So
Mm-hmm.
so I am stuck with Xfinity, Comcast,
Yeah,
and
me too.
basically, when in this case I have no other alternative, right? So my alternatives here are very weak. um,
Okay, yeah.
so I do have to manage with what I have, but then, like you said, I do call ever so often. I call them and say, my package is ending, or I have been a long time standing customer for you, and I think you should do something for me. They always put me in touch with somebody in sales. Again,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't ask, you never get it, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
keep looking at your bills, at your contract, and
Mm-hmm.
be ready to go and ask for something. If you ask for something, there's
Mm-hmm.
always something these companies will do for you.
Yeah, and it's usually like after your year ends, your whatever you could say your promotion ends after a year, then you just call them after the year end and then see if they have any new promotion, right? Because like, but you have to keep calling it feels every year. So that's what sucks about Comcast. Because also we don't have any option here where I live as well. It's just
Right.
Comcast, so they might or might not know that as well. So we're trying to like our bills just went back up like more than $20 again. I'm like, wow, what happened? So we have to call them again to negotiate for another new 1 year plan. So hopefully we
Right.
can get the deal again. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I do that very regularly, Christine. So
Hmm.
it is, again, goes back to the fact that you have to
Hmm.
prepare, you have to know what you want. Maybe
Hmm.
there are things that you don't want in your contract, or maybe by adding something more, you
Hmm.
get more value out of it than the amount you're paying. So things like
Yep.
that you have to know,
Yep.
and it's all about your interests and what you want to get out of your contract.
Yep. All right. So let me look at the comment. So Sonia said, "What other types of negotiation strategies can be used for car buying?" That's a good
Okay,
one. So,
that's actually a very big one. If you're in the US and you know that this is the whole car buying experience is can be in some cases uh, really a torture for some people who have not gone through it. There are several examples in the book on car buying negotiation, but again, everything goes back to the basics, right? When you're car buying, you have to know that there are all these resources out there. There is Kelly Blue Book, there is Edmunds.com. There are all these things that can help you in terms of your car buying experience. It
mhm,
basically, what car, depending on whether you're buying a new one or a used car, first of all, whether you're buying a new or a used, you still have enough resources out there for you to tell you what do you want, what are you looking for. So that's the preparation part again. So what things are you looking for? What is the timing of buying a car? You always know that at the end of the quarter there are sales because they want to clear or make some budgets. You know that there are all these resources out there that tell you if you if you go for a higher package but negotiate hard on that, they are going to come down on that higher package to
mhm,
almost the level of the second tier or the middle package.
mhm.
There's
Yep.
always a chance that you can get more features. What
Mhm,
I'm saying is you get more features for the price of the middle package. So
mhm,
always ask for it, right? I mean, again, I went, why I can say this is I went with a friend and we were looking to get a Toyota Sienna for him, and we went to a few dealers. Again, one thing you have to note is there are many dealers out there, so bring in the competition
yeah.
factor. So competition can play on their minds if you tell them, oh, I already talked to that dealer,
Also
and I'm getting
timing.
this price. So
Timing as well. If you go to
timing as well, timing.
end of month or end of quarter when they're trying to push for like quarterly report, monthly report, that's also a
Right.
good time for you to also negotiate because they're more desperate to get a sale.
Or for that matter, when it's a big public holiday that
Oh yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
offer great
Yep.
so my story on my EV was, I went a couple of days before the Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend, and Labor Day holiday, and and I got a great value out of it because I got a huge discount just for that holiday. So there are things that play, but again, preparation, knowing what you want. I went for that Sienna. I was trying to say that I went, and on the top most highest feature Sienna, we asked for a price of the middle tier, or actually we even went below the middle tier price, but they came back to us at the middle tier price for that top tier profile van. So there's
Mhm.
always this thing that you can ask, and you probably have to ask, only then you get
Mhm.
something out of it.
Got it. Okay. So I'm Ibrahim, our friend. Actually, I met Anush through Ibrahim. He's
Yes.
also at Visas right now. So he dropped by and he asked a funny question. He's always very funny. He's like, "How do you negotiate with kids?" Okay, before we go there, I know that's a really hilarious question. I'm gonna read the other comments. Okay. So
Okay.
Marcello says, "Hi from Atlanta, Georgia." Hi, Marcello. Team Live. And Zahir said, "Can you talk more about telemarketing negotiation?" 1 second. So Michael said, I just ordered the book thanks to Anush.
Thank you,
And then
Michael.
some Zahir said, I just ordered a book. I should get a
Thank you,
commission for
Zahir.
this. Anush, you're on my live. So I should negotiate this.
Yeah. you sh-
Commissions, huh?
you should have prepared properly, because you knew, based on your influencing, based on being an influencer, you would have got a lot more books for orders for me.
Well, you are a friend, Anur, so I
I know.
wasn't trying
I'm just
to
kidding.
make money out of this, but
I'm
I'm
just
gonna
kidding.
joke around. Yeah, you can give me commission. Okay, just kidding. Okay, so all right. Omar said go, Christine. Sham said good eight. Zahir said I'll order the book, and then Prasanna said magandang umaga. Oh, how come you know that word? That's actually magandang umaga is a Tagalog word for good morning. So
Oh, okay.
she probably is one of the people who follow me closely. Thank you, Prasanna. So I'm Chinese, but I was born and raised in the Philippines. So I lived there for 20 years. So yes, I still know Tagalog words, except that when I talk Tagalog, I probably sound funny now because I don't really have friends to talk to in Tagalog or practice. So it's
Hmm.
so anyway, I still can understand that. And it's like kumusta ka? That means how are you? Yeah, I'm good, Prasanna. Now that you're here, thank you everyone for joining. And Carol said, "Hi, Christine." Carol's one of my friend. Okay, let's go back to the question. So I don't know if you want to answer. Okay, Ibrahim said, "How do you negotiate with kids?" I don't have kids. The only two kids that I negotiate with are my two dogs, and then dogs are fairly easy to negotiate if you have a treat. So
Yeah.
they're very food motivated or toy motivated. So that's very easy for me to negotiate with them, but you have to understand to work with dogs or specifically the type of dogs you're trying to train. So
Right.
okay, you answer that question, Anuj. I don't have kids. How do you negotiate with kids? I feel like kids always run the household, right? Like it's like parents always end up revolving their life around the kids, and then like because I see friends with like kids who actually whine a lot. Like for example, one of the people I know, like the kids doesn't want to eat leftovers, so the mom always have to cook. So it's like I just feel like parents always end up you know um making the kids win. Parents never win for the most part. Like they just like end up just tailoring to the kids. I don't know, in my experience that's what I see with most parents. Well, what do you think?
Yeah. So, um, younger the kids, the more likely that the parents will give up,
Mm-hmm.
because the younger kids use more of an intuitive tactic that they have, which is emotions, right? the
Mm-hmm.
the younger
Yeah.
kids the younger kids know how to emotionally manipulate, or maybe manipulate is a strong word, but how to emotionally use the leverage, and get things out of the parents. So with little kids, it's obviously how much the parent wants to give into the emotions. Obviously, you can maybe at a very early stage uh, tell them, or basically imply to them
Mm-hmm.
that emotions are not going to, if you give into emotion once, that's it, you're
Oh
done.
yeah, they know. Kids know how to manipulate you. Okay, even our
That's it.
dogs, even my dogs sometimes know how to manipulate me. They just look at you really cutely.
Yeah,
Can you give
yeah.
me more treats? And then you're like, oh, you're so cute. Okay, fine, I'll give you a treat. So, so any,
or the
Yeah.
if young kids, then they cry and cry and
Yeah,
cry. If you give in
exactly. They
once,
know. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So for me, I don't think we chose not to have kids because, like, I just don't think I'll be a good parent because for me, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna keep like crying. I'm gonna put you in the basement and lock you
mm,
there and like maybe put my headphone there. La 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 la. I don't hear. So okay, so I might not be a good parent, but anyway, so
but
kids, I can negotiate with kids. I'm like, no, if I tell
yeah,
you no, it's no. Okay, so
right.
you can cry all you want. I'm not gonna give in.
Right. And I think it is important for them to learn that it's not about emotional, but that's young kids, right? I mean, little
Hmm.
toddlers and little kids. Uh, Around age 7 or 8 is what is called the age of reasoning, and
Hmm.
basically at that age is when kids start learning basically how to reason, what is the value, how to behave properly, and things like that to negotiate. So after the age of maybe 7 or 8, you can start actually negotiating with kids on a one-to-one basis, like you do with any other adults. You can understand interests. You can tell them what your interests are, and then you can manage to get to a sweet spot based on the interests of your kids as well as yours. But that
Hmm.
happens only with the kids of at least
Yeah.
maybe 8 to 10 years old and
But
after.
I heard that I have friends who told me like when you're training them when they're still I guess when they're crying a lot when you're teaching them to sleep throughout the night or hours. So I've
Right.
had parents who told me they don't hear their crying. They let them self-soothe. Of course, they're still watching, but they teach the baby to self-soothe themselves so they can eventually sleep through the night. So I'm not sure how that worked, but I think that's kind of form of negotiation too. But some parents it breaks their heart when they cry. Oh, the parent go like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but then you never end up training the baby to self-soothe. So I don't know. From some friends that I know, they told me that's how they taught their baby to sleep throughout, like or maybe longer, prolong the hours of sleep by like teaching them to self-soothe, not always responding to their cries. So Helen Renovik, oh my friend, she said, "You're funny. You should have negotiated before for a commission for Anush." Yes, that has come to my mind, but Anush is a friend, so I'm not gonna try to nickel and dime here, but I'm always open for a gift. Hint, hint. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Okay, I get the idea.
Michael said, how do you negotiate a contract when the rate is an industry standard, but you like more than the standard? So we'll get back to that. Let me read the other stuff. John said you could demarcate the value and the you could demarcate the value which is not standard. For example, okay, I think that he's talking about something. Okay, so yeah, he has said hello and welcome from Egypt. Your negotiation always more perfect and more than excellent and useful in general. Thank you so much. And then Matthew said, "Who's that?" Actually, I have to watch the time. It's already almost 11 a.m. PST. So I actually have a coaching client at 11, and I cannot be late for that.
Right.
I will never be late for my paying clients. So I think let's end. Anush will read your comments, so feel free to go back, Anush. You can read all the comments and then respond to them, and then connect with Anush or follow him on LinkedIn, and I will tag him after this. I couldn't tag him for some reason on my post before the call, but I will after when I have time, and then you can connect with him. So Anush, why don't you tell everyone how can people find you? And then I do want to say there's a couple of people asking what the book name is, but it is called Negotiation Quotient if you're interested in that. And then Anush, why don't we end this by letting people know how people can find you if you're open to people connecting with you and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm open, always open to people who want to connect with me.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, um, LinkedIn is probably where you are right now. It's a great way for platform for you to connect with me. I'm open to connections there. Just drop in a line as to the way you got to know about me, and I can at least I can connect that way. The other thing is I have my own website. It's my first and last name together put together. So anujjagannathan.com. You can always reach out there. You can always message me on LinkedIn. I can give you my email, my phone number if you want to start talking a little bit further. I also coach people on negotiation, so I can coach you more on your specific negotiation matters if you have any. And And then, like I said, if you want a signed copy, always ready to send you one. In the US, I can actually send you a signed copy also. So reach out to me on
Hmm.
my website, and we can talk about that also. And I'm always happy for to answer your questions. So I'll go back and answer all your questions that you already have on this LinkedIn live session, as well as anything that you have for me later. So happy to answer those.
Great, great. Thank you. Actually, Matthew Perkins just tagged you. So I will tag you on the actual post so people can actually see that. So yeah, Anush,
Perfect.
and then anyone who also signed up as a coaching, so I guess I have a referral fee for that too. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
All right. So anyway, thank you so much guys for staying in. I see 15, 16 people still live. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
joining. I
much.
always appreciate everyone who joined and then comment and everybody. So if you have more questions, connect with Anush or put in the comments. And yeah, so I hope to see you guys again. I have 3 lives this upcoming week. So I will create events for that and post there. And then if you're interested, RSVP to that so you'll get notified because I'm still playing around with the events notification. I think that's a new feature of LinkedIn, but I will do that for all my live if you're interested. And then if you have any particular topic you want me to talk about, please let me know or please post it in the comment or whatever. I'll be asking, what kind of topics you want me to talk about, and then I'll make sure to bring in subject matter experts. Okay, so have a great day, have a great weekend, everyone. And Anush, if you have any last minute words for people.
I mean, thank you, Christine. Again, you are adding a lot of value to us on LinkedIn. It's a great platform, and we are able to connect with you and other great influencers. So thank you so much. And like I said to everybody, happy to connect. Please connect with me on LinkedIn or
Mhm.
anywhere else. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.